Hey everybody, my name is Matt. Well, let me turn this down. Looks like I'm. Oh, actually, no, we're looking pretty good. My name is Matt. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do our very first live stream. However, I had neglected to click go live before, and so now there's about a 24-hour time period. But I'm off to Texas for a little bit, and that's not my home state. And so I won't have access to be able to stream. So I wanted to just get something going, you know? And so today we're going to do a little bit of a video, and it's just going to be this raw footage. And we're going to be painting or continuing the painting of the Divine Beast Naboris. And I've got a couple of other Divine Beasts here that we are going to go over, and should be fun. It might be a little bit boring since I don't necessarily have an audience to interact with today, but that's all right. We're here to just chill out, listen to some music, and watch me paint. So let me go ahead and get that music going. I wish I could know how loud it is for you guys. I guess I probably should do a test. All right, it won't be completely unedited. I'll be right back. All right, seems like we are good to go. That seems pretty decent. Hopefully I didn't mess with it too much, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. So as you can see, some of these have a bit of a bluish tint to them. Right here, you notice, anyway, what I did was I wanted to have this light speed wash paint kind of have a darker glow, and that's why we're seeing the brighter yellows here, because there wasn't that dark blue paint underneath. So this is what this wash here, this from Army Painter, the Speed Paint Sand Golem. This is the same paint. It is just over this dark blue wash, and that was intentional because we have a couple in with the Divine Beast. They have this bluish glow, and I wanted to try to get that in the just kind of like a natural background look. But yeah, so there's that. Let's get the paint mixture set up. Here's just my pretty basic paint palette. Nothing too crazy, right? I've already pre-mixed these, but we're gonna go ahead and shake them up a bit. And to get this, I just wanted it slightly darker than this. This is Vallejo Dark Flesh, and then Army Painter Leather Brown. And I just do just one drop of that leather brown. And then we're gonna do a couple more here. And then for simplicity, easiness of spreading both here and later on, and just take a older brush and mix it up. Oh, sorry. I have an allergy to being in frame, so definitely gonna try to work on that this stream, or you know, potential stream. What could have been. We might want to add just a little bit more water to that, but that should be good. Let's clean off this brush since we won't be using this one. And even though it's older, I still want to keep it somewhat decent in case I need to use it for some other things. And the way I clean my brushes, I just get it repeatedly wet, and then I'll take a paper towel and I'll just drag it across like I'm just slow. Let me just show it here, right here. Just slowly painting like that, and then when there is no more yellow residue coming out of the bristles, that's when you know that it's done. Some of you may be very experienced miniature painters that I am not. I am mediocre, but I love taking these 3D prints and just giving them that extra wow factor. I thoroughly have enjoyed all of my 3D printing. I'll be right back. Let me just show some of the things that I've been working on recently. So just a pretty standard print right here, right? This is there's definitely some flaws that I should have worked on, but I kind of finished it in a hurry. But it is Emperor Palpatine's lightsaber handle, and before just a very boring brass color, and now it's just a very satisfying the actual color that's supposed to be. And then same thing with this Luke's lightsaber. There's still a bit of green here. I need to add some silver to these stripes, or whatever, the ribbing, whatever you want to call that. And then I've got to finish Luke's lightsaber, Return of the Jedi style. Anyway, so it just enhances the 3D printing. I know some people are really good about getting their dual extrusion and all that, but I don't love the layer lines. I think whenever you can sand and paint, it's gonna be a much better end result. But let's go ahead and get going here. I'm gonna pull out full stop or no stop, whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to sayings. These are super helpful. I know you look dorky, and I know that I do as well. But I cannot express this enough that these just little magnifying glasses, they make a difference. They really do. So let's go ahead and, again, not to repeat myself too much, but we're gonna get started here. I know a couple of you have been playing the new Tears of the Kingdom. I have currently been in love with that game. It has been fantastic. Just the new play style with the Zonai devices. Very fun. First thing I did was go out and max out my battery and get that Zonite armor. And just drastically improved the gameplay for me. You know, being able to explore, being able to run those hover bikes around as much as I wanted to. Phenomenal. And I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but I remember watching the news on, not really news, but you know, reading the headlines, and they kept talking about the sky, how they were adding that to the map, and they were so quiet about the underground, the caverns, and shoot, I'm forgetting what it's called, but that huge map down there that's so daunting to explore because it's just so dark. Definitely bring your bloom seeds when you go down there. Now, a lot with painting is definitely a patience over everything. And I'm sure that my painting will not be perfect, as it never is. And I don't know. I don't really believe anybody if they ever claim to not make mistakes. I've never heard anybody say that. But if they did, I wouldn't believe them, because painting is always just either a slip of the hand, or the bristles don't do exactly what you want them to do. And so don't ever beat yourself up whenever you're either giving it a try or just doing something pretty tricky and you mess up a model. You can always start over, add a fresh new coat of primer, and reattempt. You might lose some of the small details, but just don't ever be too hard on yourself. Try to enjoy the process. Just the other day when I was starting to do this neck here, I was definitely overwhelmed. Or not really overwhelmed, but it was a daunting task, and you got to enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, it makes something that's supposed to be relaxing, enjoyable, a chore. If it's ever a chore, you're never gonna have a good time. When does a hobby become work? All the time, right? Anybody who 3D prints or paints minis, I'm sure you know that whenever you got a build up of models or 3D prints or just some, one of my buddies is really into Warhammer 40K, and whenever he's got a bunch of models sitting on a shelf, it always feels like a daunting task. And then you always got something exciting to do. We just finished a epic D&D one-off. I'm not a huge D&D player, but he and this buddy of mine invited me, so I thought I'd give it a try. And it was really fun, but he had to put a lot of his personal mini painting on the back burner while he painted an army of, I think it was somewhere around 300 zombies, a bunch of epic monsters. The man had to spend just a ridiculous amount of man hours to get that all going, and it turned out awesome. If you go check him out, oh shoot, try Mini Paints on Instagram. He's a great guy. And what's with this spring? So many great games came out. I am just absolutely torn between playing the new Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and the new Diablo 4. That is also fun. I was a wizard back in Diablo 3, but decided to go with a melee character this time and went with the barbarian. I had no idea about Whirlwind. I hadn't really looked much into it. I just knew I wanted to play it, so I just picked a class that I thought sounded fun, and spin to win, man. When I was playing with my friends online, it was I kept singing the Spinning Like a Ballerina song, because that's what I felt like I was doing the whole time. I'm sure they got tired of it. My beautiful shoot, what's that called? Falsetto? I'm sure you can imagine how great that sounded. Anyone who doesn't know is dripping with sarcasm. All right, let's get something a little more exciting than that back piece. Let's go ahead and, or not necessarily exciting, but something with just a little bit more coverage. Whoa. I am a little bit lack on sleep. My hands are a tiny bit shaky tonight. That's all right. I honestly have found that you just got to work with it. If your hands are getting shaky, you just got to realize where to move with them. My hands have never been that sturdy or stable. Yeah. But it's sufficient for what I do. In the comments, make sure to let me know what it is that you do. Do you like to paint minis? Do you like to 3D print? Do you like to paint your prints like me? What hobbies do we have all here in the community? I'd be happy to hear, and love to find out what you guys want to see me do. If I'm doing it right by you guys and gals, and painting these mini sculptures, or if you'd rather see something a little more like my removing support videos, where it's a little more ASMR with don't worry, not with me, but with either some cleaning up supports and just watching cleaning up some prints. Happy to do that too. Whatever part of this process there's interest in, I'd love to show, and I'd love to help wherever I can. I've got a lot of questions about like tips and tricks, and I mean, I wish I had somebody asking me right now. I definitely could answer them. Again, sorry about that live stream mess up, everybody. I'd love to be live right now, but we do with what we can. Definitely have to roll with the punches whenever you're working with the hobbies, or at least one as I want to say finicky as 3D printing, but I honestly feel like most of the time the 3D printing mistakes are our own. Just the other day, I was really excited about, I've shared a story about the malfeasance hand cannon. I still have this barrel here. I was trying to do it in translucent green, much like the 3D print, and this just looks terrible. You can see right here, just all the pitting is overexposed, and I finally figured out a pretty decent setting, and I started to print, and the print failed. So I canceled the print, and I had an obligation that evening, so I just kind of let it sit, and that was a huge mistake. I'm not sure what caused the hole in the FEP, but I didn't get back to it until later the next day, and there was just a huge hole in the bottom of the vat, or in the FEP, the plastic, thin plastic there, where the resin screen, or not the resin screen, the LCD screen, and it caused a huge leak. Resin was everywhere. Luckily, it didn't spread too far. It was only on the desk, but I will say that I was foolish in not getting a screen protector. I'm sure some of you know where this is going, but the resin spilled over and ruined the screen. So I am currently waiting on a screen replacement for my resin 3D printer, which is definitely not fun. Shipping is a lot. Screen for a 6K 3D printer is not cheap, but you live and you learn. Definitely gonna order and put on a screen protector to avoid this in the future. That was not, and it's just a bummer because I also have a bunch of things that I've been really wanting to print, and I can't, out of commission. But again, gotta roll with the punches, right? But I will say, it makes you definitely appreciate when it is up and running. I recently, and I'll release a video on this soon, or at least a couple of shorts. I recently got the new, or not new, but you know, relatively new, Anycubic Cobra Neo. And I have upgraded from the Mega X, which has been out for several years now. And I just want to say that it is just a stark contrast in technology. I love being able to manually change the offset mid-print, the Z offset. Absolute game changer. You may notice that whenever I'm painting here, I leave areas that, you know, look lackluster, right? Like there's some here edges here that need cleanup. This place could use some paint. But whenever you are applying paint on a miniature, you want to do, and so what I've heard is less is more. So whenever you are painting, sorry to repeat myself, adding too much paint is going to cause a much greater issue, and that's whenever I've messed up. I'll point out a mess up here. These little window frames, they're pretty tricky to paint. You can't even see them. Oh yeah, you can. There they are. So very small, very tricky to paint. There's not much to not let the paint. There's not very much surface area to keep that tension there, so the paint doesn't want to run off. And I feel like I did a pretty decent job. I will admit that I definitely could have done better. But on this one, too much paint. This one looks significantly more filled in, not as clean of lines, and again, too much paint. It's much harder to, unless I were to recover that all in that blue with that dark wash, it's just not going to look the same. And if I would have been a little more careful, put on a little bit less paint, we would not have had a problem. It would have just gone on. See, a little too cautious there. I think I need to get the brush a little more wet. Let's clean it up. Every now and then you want to keep your brush, you want to clean your brush. You don't want to let those paint pigments dry on the brush. It'll ruin the brush, and you'll see what just happened to me will continue to happen, where the brush is even harder to work with when dealing with those small scales. And again, I am no professional miniature painter, and so if I hear any tips, I'd be happy to hear them. I've gotten quite a few tips over the last couple months, and I've been watching some painting videos to improve my craft. But again, anything that you particularly see me doing wrong, I would love to hear it. Have some live coaches, right? And if you see me doing anything that you personally want a little bit more information on, please let me know, and I'd be happy to share. And if you enjoyed the video so far, feel free to give a like and subscribe. It's not too much for you, and it really does mean a lot to me. I thoroughly enjoy it when I hear and see about people enjoying what I do, which I really do. I love 3D printing. I love painting. I'm really excited whenever a piece comes together. It's very satisfying, and I also love making videos about it. It's really enjoyable. I like to help people, and I like to also share. I'm sure my fiance now, soon to be wife, she has to hear a lot about it. And so to save her some of my repetitious, oh, look at this, look what I've done, look what I've made, I decided to show the world, show people. I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I do. Here I'm going even easier on this paint to try to do the job that I should have done on the other side. And I even messed up there. You see it falling off. However, I will say, I think I did a much better job sticking to the lines there. You learn from your mistakes. You get better every time. If you just get just a little bit better every time you do something, you're going to be pretty dang good at the end of it. And also, I almost just started to do the exact same thing that I did before, not being patient. Just gotta breathe. And paint. Breathe and paint, breathe and paint. Looks a little crooked, but the lines, not really. Oh, we'll just goof that. But pretty good. That's a nice thing about, painting miniatures is the smaller you go, the better it looks when you're just looking at it from far away. Maybe you guys don't think it looks that good, but I think it's pretty decent. Especially for just absolutely how small this is. Get a little bit more water on the brush here, get it in the paint so it runs a little smoother. This is the hard part about these details, is getting the right amount of paint on this brush. You gotta have just the right amount so it doesn't come rushing off. Don't like the job that's going here. Definitely should stop and clean the brush. Whenever you are fighting the brush, you want to stop and clean. I should have stopped before that, but I just wanted to finish that window and I shouldn't have done it. If the brush is ever not doing what you want, clean the brush. There's probably too much dried residue, the brush is too stiff, or there's too much paint. Oh, sorry. All right. Clean brush. That's much better. Almost. Oh, my hand's a little shaky there. Almost a night and day difference. My paint job could improve, but the brush responsiveness significantly better. What if you do have any printers, what do you have? What kind of printers do you have? What's your favorite? I typically, I'll be honest, I'm an Anycubic guy, mainly because it's the first one I bought and it's treated me really well. But I'm curious to know if you guys have any recommendations. I've heard a lot about or not really heard, but I've seen a lot of the popularity of the whole bamboo labs, and that looks pretty intriguing. Don't know if I can commit to it yet, though. Is there anything that you guys would have wanted to see me do? Like I'm usually pretty much in the video game space. I like to make what I'm actually doing, like the Destiny guns. I've been a big Destiny fan for many years. I will admit I've dropped off a bit after that Lightfall disappointment. It was I really, if anybody is an anime fan here, I really felt like that was just a filler episode of a campaign. It was really lackluster, and when it was sold to us, when they first announced it on the roadmap, I thought that would be it. I should have known that it was going to be bad by the time I saw that there was going to be the final shape. But what is it with them releasing just bombers? That's probably not the right thing to say, but that's all right. Just releasing great campaigns, such as, you know, Witch Queen and Forsaken, and then they just go on this drought of mediocre content. Again, though, you know what? Maybe I should check myself. I have not paid that much attention to the new seasons. I will admit, the season of the Deep, the concept looks cool, but for a season, I just can't believe that there is substance to it. Not been a fan of their seasonal content releases. However, I end up usually missing the ones that I'm actually interested in. I was burnt out during the season of the Splicer, and then I go back and I catch like the last 2 weeks of it, and I was like, oh shoot, I really enjoyed this. I would have liked to stick around, but it is what it is. All right, that last window was pretty rubbish, but we are moving along. Getting it get close to that last side, the other side here. How long have we been doing this for? I don't even know. Crazy how the other day I was So I've been working on the, if you've watched my previous video of the Tears of the Kingdom Decayed Master Sword, I've been working on the full Master Sword to have them kind of like next to each other. I think that's a pretty cool, it'd be pretty cool to have both of them. And it just blows me away how much progress can be made when painting something like that versus how little progress it feels like you make in painting something like this. You can be here, like this other side took me about 45 minutes, and maybe that's just me needing some more experience when it comes to painting minis, that it takes me a little bit too long. But again, I'd rather do something once carefully than something twice quickly. But again, it just kind of blows me away at how long it takes. But maybe it shouldn't. When the brush is this small, maybe it shouldn't surprise me that I'm painting this quickly, or not quickly. It takes this long. I hope this headlamp isn't causing too much of a glare for this main camera. So whenever I go to look, I move it. You know what, that's dumb. Just take it off. That's not too bad, I hope. Let me know in the comments if it's disruptive, and I'll, I guess I can just turn it off. Get the, well, I will admit it's quite nice to have on, but I mean, yeah. Let me know if it's disruptive, but for now I'm gonna keep it on. It's crazy how much help extra vision is when it's something this small. Again, I know it's a little dorky, but very helpful. If you paint minis and you haven't got one of these, you should get one of these. I fully commit to backing a pair of magnifying glasses. The moment I got them, again, my mediocre painting drastically improved. I was making a bunch of Gloomhaven minis at the time, resin printing and painting them. When I was painting some faces, and they just did not turn out. I spent so much time on the model and then butchered the faces. And then finally got myself a pair of these, and just being able, it's weird, just being able to see and understanding. Yeah, it's hard to explain, but magnifying your hand in the brush and being able to see more almost lets you, it's like your brain has more information to be able to make these small adjustments to what you're doing and what you're painting. And I just feel like my hand is more steady, and maybe that it's a placebo, and I realized before I get in the comments that placebo isn't real. So that's kind of the point of the placebo, right? Or I don't know. Anyway, you get what I'm saying, that maybe it's in my head, but I genuinely think that this improves. That, and also when I learned to steady my hands on like the desk, each other, it really does quite help. You know what I miss most about Breath of the Wild? I miss the ancient armor, ancient arrows, the ancient saddle. It's just an awesome aesthetic, and of course the saddle, very convenient. I always feel like I leave my horses in the middle of nowhere. And then they're so far away whenever I actually want them. Doesn't work. So I just end up quick building a machine, which I guess is probably significantly better than the saddle. It's a flying machine with 3 fans and 2 rockets just to get it up off the ground. It's a pretty great combo. Or yeah, just a whole hover bike or quadcopter, whatever you fancy. It's all very satisfying stuff. Let's go ahead and this first layer of paint's probably drying up. Let's clean up these lines a bit. There we go. It's better. I'm realizing that I think I need to go back out to the other side and touch up the trim around those hips. There's an extra seam that I missed. Right up and around this first, I guess not both hips, but this first joint here. I didn't notice before, but there is just the slightest bit that this trim that runs along right there all the way up. Now that I'm looking at it in the camera, I'm like, how did I miss that? But there are so many details that you're looking at here that it's honestly almost overwhelming when you start to paint it. Anyone who paints these, whether you do a better job, worse job, same job as me, I respect you for it. This is a painstaking process. Nah, that's painstaking. That's a little dramatic. But you get what I'm saying, that it is time consuming. But I'm thinking about printing some bases for this, and then you get some of those homemade amiibos and glue them to the bottom. I think it'd be pretty fun to have a homemade Devine Beast amiibo. Not sure if that concept upsets Nintendo or anything. I'm sure it does. Not that I've ever had any negative experience with them, but I've heard through other people's drama that they have a real hard time with Nintendo and pretty strict with their infringements and other things. Now that that trim piece is painted, I don't necessarily think it really adds, but it's supposed to be, so let's paint it. Like Louise, every time I turn around, I'm like, well, I gotta paint that. Oh, I gotta paint that too. Oh, I gotta paint that. I think we'll go till we're done with at least the ball joints, and then I think we might call it. I think that's some pretty good progress for the evening. Again, I'm regretting so much that we're not live right now. Would have been a fun first live. I've gotten some feedback or something rather than just me talking in an echo chamber. Count that as part of my job to do tonight. Let's skip this front, whatever you want to call that, and continue on with ball joints and see how we feel when we get to it. And I will admit, I feel like we're not going to end up doing that. I hope you've been enjoying the music. Let me know what you think about it. I'd be happy to change it up. If there are any that are opposed to it. Just some simple stuff from YouTube. Some stream-friendly music. I'll post the link in the description. And something like these guardrails, I will admit, I did break the other side. That was from my carelessness of removing supports. Things do happen, mainly because they were just so fragile. I really did try. Well, I shouldn't really say carelessness. I cared, and I tried, but they just did not survive. You can only be so careful with them, but I just think that they are. This is what has me just blown away by resin printing. I love my FDM printer. It's very fun, very satisfying, but the detail in resin. If you can find a safe place for it with some good ventilation, or a place that won't be traveled frequently, and then can have good ventilation whenever you're in there, I highly recommend it. It is awesome to be able to make something that looks this good. Just from a concept that you found on, not a concept like an STL file. Most of mine I find online. Some I've made or modified myself, but there's just, I will admit that there is just so much time and energy that goes into making those models that takes away from being able to print and paint them. So it's not my highest priority to make models myself, but I do, when I find something that I really want to print and there isn't an option, I'll usually take something that exists and modify it from there. I will actually have a video out on how to make some simple changes to make an image, kind of like a logo or something, and how to just, it's honestly not a hard process to extrude it into a 3D image itself. Yeah, you take the image and then you can turn it into a 3D model and then print it. I did it for another one of an actual coworker of mine and his YouTube channel. He runs a garage YouTube channel, and he asked me to make him a logo for his shop. No, I didn't design the logo. Don't. I just made him, printed it, make a sign out of it. It turned out pretty good. That will be a video coming up here in the next couple weeks. I'm excited for that. Again, if you're enjoying the video, please give us a like, a comment, let me know what you think. And if you're feeling up for it and you want to see more content like this, go ahead and give me a subscribe. I'd love to see you around more and hear some of what you want to watch or what you want to see. If you like this kind of content too, make sure to let me know. I've enjoyed it quite a bit, actually, a lot more than I thought I would. So I'd love to make more of it. You guys interacting with my video in any way helps me to do that. Lets me know that you like it. Maybe it's good that I'm having my first stream to be a video anyway, because I don't know about you guys, but I've tried to look at past streams for other people, and it's just never as appealing as a video. So this might be a good way to introduce my new streaming attempts. It might be a little bit easier to kind of get into the format. Dip my toes in, dip your guys' toes in, see what you think. We're just gonna clean up some of the work we've done. We've made it to those hip joints. Well, I guess there's one more trim piece that we need to do before we can call it, or before I go clean up. Let me just quickly get it. I love this trim I did on the other side. Well, obviously I did it on the other side, but very easy. It's just such a raised edge. It basically takes and moves the brush for me. Love it when that happens. Still got to be careful though, obviously. Don't push too far or too hard. Oh, sorry. Again, I'm apparently allergic to being in frame. I apologize for that. Alright, now let's just add some paint where we can use a little more TLC, tender love and care. I'm actually surprised on how, I mean, at least there's no, I think they all could use a little bit more paint, each of these areas. However, she is a divine beast that travels through the desert. Maybe I should have it have some wear. I haven't really yet, so probably should stick with what I'm doing. I will say I'm pleasantly surprised on how few areas look like they really need it, but we did kind of go back most, or over most of them as we were going along, which I do find much easier. Just to paint, kind of go back over what you just painted as it dries. Obviously letting it dry, it's kind of, it needs to be at least a little bit tacky before you can just put on a whole new coat, or you're just dragging around the paint that you just put down. Check something real quick. All right. I was gonna say that or when I first saw it, I thought that that the legs would be a nightmare. But after painting these, this hip here, I think that those are gonna be very similar in just letting me paint myself, or having it paint itself. I'm dreading this little entryway. There's a lot of little details there that I'm supposed to paint, and it's gonna be rough. However, I think that that's pretty good. Oh shoot. All right, okay. I keep catching stuff that's definitely a part of this painting area. I told you guys that I would do this. I don't want to leave a job unfinished. No, it wouldn't be very satisfying to watch, right? Just seeing this blaring mistake right here. Not mistake, but you know, omission. My hands are shaky though. I definitely should be done soon. Mistake right there, that's alright. What do they say in art? If you make a mistake, make a second one, then it was on purpose. Alright, I definitely could use some more improvements, and it's not anywhere near being done, but I think she looks pretty great so far. So, thanks for joining this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was at least a little entertaining, whether it was my story or watching me paint. Hopefully the music was pretty enjoyable. But hope to stick you around. Hope to see you around. Have a good one, YouTube.